to begin. A very warm welcome to all the members present and also all the members on the virtual screen. Can we give a huge round of applause by unmuting ourselves? So we take a pause and first ask all our virtual members to unmute themselves and join us in giving a thunderous round of applause to start the day today. All right, I see some slowness in unmuting themselves, which is understandable. It's a Saturday morning in the end, and we have to be in the Saturday morning spirit. And may I request and request also to turn their cameras on if possible. And I know some of them may not be the best of the shapes to turn the camera on. I am pretty much up. Yeah, I see Mrinal coming up, and okay, all right. So can we start by giving a round of applause? Please join me. Today there are a couple of very special things happening. First thing first, it's international dance. How many of us are dancers here?
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, and Shivani is not raising her hand. We have by default. How about men? How many of us are dancers?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the dancers, I'm so much of a dancer. I love to shake my leg as well once in a while. So it's going to be a amazing fun as we will join very shortly our host of the day, Shivani, who's been a very nice dancer and all of us know her very well. And today we have guest Shilpa as well, and I've seen some of her dance videos, and I can tell you she can give a good competition as well on the dance. So while we will see if we get some time to shake our legs today, but another big reason for another big special reason today is that we have the keynote speaker with us, and that keynote speaker is none other than our ex-international speech contest champion. So may I ask all of you to give a huge round of applause to welcome Aditya. That's the energy of eloquent. To start with, the mission statement of our club, as you know, everybody has a mission statement, mission in life, and so is the Toastmaster Club as well. Our mission is to provide learning environment, to provide sorry, I have to open the script. Please pardon me for this. Yeah, our mission is to provide supportive and positive learning environment to all our members, wherein members are encouraged to grow their communication and leadership skills. And that's what brings us here today. As we know, eloquent speech is not from the lip to the ear, but heart to the heart. So today we want to have a heart-to-heart speeches, and for that we have our host. And may I request all of you to invite Toastmaster Shivani on the stage as presiding officer and host the day.
Hello everyone and welcome to the hybrid meeting. Glad to see all the faces here physically as well as virtually. To begin with, I see many guests here. So let's start with guest introduction. I will turn over to each guest and please introduce yourself in 2-3 lines to let us know where you come from, how did you get to know about this club and the meeting. Starting with guest Shilpa, please.
Hi. Hi, I'm Shilpa, and I'm working as a I'm into an event management company, and I'm working as a senior manager for business development and operations. But that is my profession, and by the passion, I'm an event crafter. So I love to do some the craft enthusiast. So I love to create something, and love to do some fun with the craft people. This is my hobby. And Ashi, sir, thank you so much. And he brings me here. I'm very happy.
We have very creative person between us. Now, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Prateek. Firstly, I'm sorry for being late. Actually, this Uber driver was checking me. So I'm working as an operations analyst from past 7 or 8 years in Gurgaon itself. From from the time of COVID itself, I was staying at my hometown, which is Gupta, Haryana. So after 3 years, I'm getting a chance, to attend a Toastmasters meeting. I got to know about it from my cousin and looking forward to learn, build confidence, leadership, and communication skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining.
Hi everyone, so I am Naveen Goyal. I am a qualified chartered accountant and working as a finance manager in GlaxoSmithKline. So, which is at in One Horizon Center. So I came to know about this through LinkedIn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Now to our virtual guest, starting with Rinal. Over to you.
Hi everybody. So I'm Rinal and I work as a project manager for an IT company. I just got to know about through a friend, and then I did have a nice rendezvous with Ashish, and then I have been a part of the club. So it's my second meeting though, but then it's like fun to be because we all are part of the learning process. Thank you.
So much, Mrinal. Now over to Prakhar. Prakhar, can you please introduce yourself? Hi, Prakhar. Can you hear us?
Hello, I am audible.
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Prakhar Dastogi. I am as a working in IT company in a beauty cosmetic MNC company as a head of finance in India, as well as I'm a CA final student. And special thanks for Ashish who giving me an opportunity to connect the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prakhar. Thank you for joining. Hi, Rajiv. Over to you.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, everyone. Myself, Rajiv. I'm working in finance in Nestle, and Ashish sir introduced me to the club, and this will be my third meeting. I'm looking forward to the today's unleashing session.
Now, a very warm welcome to all the guests, and thank you so much for joining in. We at Eloquent Toastmasters Club, we are planning to soon open our membership window, and any of the guests, feel free to come join our meetings, get to know more about the club, the meetings, and if you are interested to be the member, please reach out to any of the executive committee member, be it Toastmaster Ashish, myself, or anyone, and we will be happy to help you. Now, to start with this amazing meeting for which we all are waiting, I won't take much of the time and would quickly hand over the stage to dynamic leader and an amazing speaker, none other than Toastmaster Aditya Gupta.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivani, and thank you, Toastmaster Ashish, for inviting me over and giving me an opportunity to interact with the members of the club in person and virtual. And a very, very good afternoon. It has been. Still morning. I just want to be clear that people on the virtual meeting can also hear me and see me clearly. Please indicate a thumbs up. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Mayank. And people who are not yet on the camera would love to see you on a Saturday morning. If you could turn on your cameras, that'd be great. I wish I could say the same to people present in person, but they don't have an option. So and the rest of the 90 minutes of the session, we are going to spend together with having a lot of fun. And this is not going to be a session where it'll be a one-to-many conversation where I share my experiences that I bring to the table and whatever I have learned over the past 5 years of my Toastmaster journey. It's going to be a one-to-many and many-to-one conversation where I'll share some parts of my experience. I'll expect the audience to share some part of their experience, not just with me, but with each other as well. So if you were thinking that you came in with the expectations of just sitting there and listening, I'm sorry to break that. But this is going to be a chance where we are in this safe space and probably talk about some of the topics which we may not be comfortable talking in a non-Toastmasters environment. This is where we come together as a community to give that safe and mutual learning environment where all of us are there for each other and all of us have come together for one common topic or with one common intention, which is to support each other in their learning journeys. So before I actually share what I have in mind with for all of you today, I would love to hear from some members, either sitting in person or virtual. You can feel free to either type some responses in the chat or feel free to come off mute and share, or keep on responding through different emojis if you agree with something that somebody might have shared or you really want to encourage that. Thank you for turning on the camera, Rajiv. Good to see you. So coming back to my question, what are some of the expectations that you are here with today? Hey, Prakhar, good to see you.
Yes. Hi, Aditya.
So what are some of the expectations that you are here with? This is not just everyone looking at the camera, guys. This is a question for you as well. Don't worry, people on the screen, I won't go easy on them. Anjil, some expectations that you came in here with.
Maybe I can begin. Sure. Thanks for being here, Aditya. Well, we'll do the gratitude first, I think. But I'm really excited to hear you. And one expectation which I carried is that we know that being a champion is not easy. Right. So, as they say that once you're successful, it looks that everything has been rosy, very good, etc., etc. But behind the success, there is a lot and lot of slowness. And I would like to learn from your success mantra. That what made you to stand on the podium as a winner of this ISL?
Sure, thanks for sharing it, Ashish. And very true, there's a lot more than meets the eye when it comes to reaching certain stages and certain forums. And definitely a lot more interesting stories that happened before that and even after that. A lot of people are privy to what happens before that and reaching that stage, but not a lot of them know what happens after that. So I'll be as vulnerable, as open as possible in sharing that experience. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, please.
So everyone who has joined Toastmasters has some expectations in life to be a good communicator, to be a good leader. What I wanted to share from you is what stopped you during your journey and how did you come out of that? What motivated you during your the success?
Okay.
Similar, but getting motivated. It's that I would like to know what all hiccups came on your way and how you kept yourself going, irrespective of that, to maintain that consistency.
All right, got it. Thank you for sharing that, Shivani.
Out of your busy work, I mean, with your profession, of course. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Program, Ashish,
So people who don't know me yet, so I've been a Toastmaster for about 5 years now, and in my professional life, part of my life, I'm a learning and development professional with a research and advisory organization. So that's a little bit about what it's pretty similar to what I'm here to do, like a full-time learning and development job. Anyone else?
So we are here. So I am here to overcome the fear of public speaking.
Okay.
So sometime when we go on a podium, so we feel that we are confident, but we start shivering. So how to stop this? So shivering does not mean that we are not confident. We are confident internally and we feel, but it starts shivering on the podium. So how to stop that and how to be, so we all communicate in day-to-day meetings, like, and in our personal lives as well. How to be very fluent communicator, a good and effective communicator, and it can help us to be a great leader in the future.
So more or less, we're all confident when it comes to not standing on the stage. But the moment we come on the stage, everything goes black. So how to be confident on that? Naveen, right?
Yes, Naveen.
Thanks for sharing
One
that.
more from my side.
Yeah,
How do you articulate your thoughts when you prepare for the speeches? And how do you keep it alive when you are delivering it? Because most of the time we are prepared for the speeches before the session, but afterwards when we are on the stage, most of the time, are we, whether we are blank or we are hardly recollecting, 10 to 20% of the.
Yes.
That happens with everyone. This is
Everyone.
Keep it when you are delivering the speech.
Yeah,
To make it more efficient.
Yeah.
And sometimes we feel, so post meeting, we feel that, okay, we prepared for 100% and we had delivered only 50%. So that 50% important thing we missed. So
whatever you came in mind with on the stage, you only deliver like X percentage of that, and then you think I came in with so many expectations, so many information, and only amount was able to deliver.
Yes, and we may have missed some critical.
Got it, got it. Understood. Thanks for sharing that. There's somebody on the virtual screen as well trying to share something. Anyone? Mrinal, Prakhar, Mayank, Rajiv, Lucky, Rocky. Sorry for that slight technical glitch. We're back, hopefully still audible and visible clearly.
Can you still hear us and see us?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
okay.
That's right.
Sorry for the glitch.
Awesome. All right, your expectations that you came in with. Come on. Mrinal, Mayank, Rajiv, Lucky, anyone?
Yeah. Shall I?
Please.
What I was telling was that success and I think the confidence is pretty subjective, and it is kind of negative for a lot of people. But what I would like to understand from this is like when see the kind of speech delivery is extremely unique to everybody, right? So it's not that you need to copy somebody in order to give a flawless speech delivery, but it also depends upon in what kind of skin that you are comfortable in. So what would like to understand is the kind of preparation that goes through as far as the competition etc is concerned, because confidence and the kind of speech delivery and the kind of english, the kinds of accent that you are into, it's all dependent upon people to people. It's the way we have been brought up, and we are all in this kind of a learning curve. Like we all understand this. So what I would like to understand is just that the preparation that kind goes through whenever you prepare, so that you that kind of flawless delivery on that particular day happens pretty nicely. That is what I wanted to understand from your this session. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks for sharing that, Mrinal. And I think that's a beautiful point that you brought there. Instead of copying someone else's style, how to find your own unique style and basically be yourself on the stage, which eventually becomes your unique style, and how to be comfortable in your skin. Beautiful. Thanks for that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to add one pointer. So actually, I would like this slightly discomfort. So if I am getting shivering, so I guess it's a good indicator that I am on right platform and I am learning something. So these are these uncomfortableness and shivering is, I guess, these are kind of good indicator. Whenever you try to get out of your comfort zone, then these are the things you would be facing first. So whether it's whatever skills you are learning in your life,
Yeah.
so these are
If,
something you must
if
face.
you're feeling uncomfortable, that means you're doing something that you're not used to, and that means you're growing. And just to follow up on that question or that statement, Mayank, what is on your mind when you decided to join this session?
Yeah, so actually, when I did, decided, so I thought that, okay, I would be learning new things definitely with more experienced people. And apart from that, my goal is to improve my communication style and confidence. So these are the basically thoughts in my mind when I opt for this session.
Got it. So improving your communication styles and slight improvement in confidence.
Yes.
Got it. Hi.
Hi.
We were just discussing the intentions behind joining this session, and I know you've just come in. I don't mean to put you on the spot. If you'd like to share your expectations of, and maybe you can start your introduction. You're a guest, right?
Yes,
So maybe you can start with your introduction. Sorry, I'm doing a little more of your job. And just share your expectations of what or the intentions of coming in this session.
So hi guys, I'm Paras. Currently I'm working as a product designer at a startup. So presently I want to start a podcast. So I'm trying to improve my communication skills and connect with the community. You can actually give me feedback and then I can improve upon it. So I have stage fear, which I actually want to overcome. Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice, good to know. Thank you very much. Welcome to the session. We hope you have a great time with us. Anyone else? Anyone?
Hey, Aditya. Am I audible?
Hey, Vidushi, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. So, the reason for me to join this session particularly was the script writing. What a award-winning script actually looks like. That is what I wanted to know mostly. And I'm sorry, I'm just not well. And hello, yeah, am I audible?
Loud and clear. We can still hear you. Please go ahead.
So yes, mostly yes. So I saw a few of your videos also, and the way you motivated us, your the words which you used, they were very powerful. So my motive was to learn that how to like I also want to write. That is what I want to.
Vidushi, I maybe lost you some for a few seconds there, probably because of bandwidth challenge. But if I got your drift right, you want to learn about how to write an award-winning speech and all those some I would say influential words that you can share with the
Yes,
audience to
yes,
drive the message. All right, got that.
yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for sharing those expectations. I'd just like to summarize and make sure I don't miss out on any. You'd like to learn about what happens behind the scenes of the success, a little bit about my journey of reaching that stage, what stopped me during my journey, what kept me motivated, if there were any hiccups that I faced. And apart from my journey in general, you'd also like to learn about some of the concepts around how to articulate your thoughts and how to not get those nervous jitters when you come on the stage and you come prepared with X amount of content and you're able to deliver only X percentage of it. So how to overcome that and overall overcoming the fear of public speaking, how to make it more engaging for your audience, how to find your unique style in terms of being comfortable in your own skin, and how to write an award-winning script. I hope I was able to cover more or less every expectation that you shared. So I must say those are quite a few expectations for a session in 2 hours. I'll try my best to cover all of them, but if I'm still unable to do that, please feel free to reach me offline and I'll be happy to engage in the conversation. But I'll try my best to cover almost all of it or all of those expectations that we shared within this session. So, starting with the agenda that I have in mind to discuss with all of you, we'll be doing a bit of energizers to get us in the right state and the right state of mind to get started with the session. Then we'll be talking about the mindset behind public speaking and writing, which is very, very important. Then we'll also get into the skill set behind speech writing, and then we be closing the session with a powerful exercise, which the intention behind the exercise is to bring all of those elements together and whatever experience you'll be having. So behind that agenda, there's only one intention, and I only have one ask of you to make the most out of it, because the more you put in this session is the more you will get out of it. So be open, have the courage to be vulnerable, because we'll also be getting into breakout rooms for the virtual people, and we'll also get into some group pairing exercises for all of us. So feel free to share out loud, because when you share certain parts of your life and yourself, you subconsciously give the courage to your audience to share the same. Is that a fair ask? Yes. Awesome. So talking about getting uncomfortable. And thanks Ashish for pointing it out that it's International Dance Day. I was having double thoughts in my mind because whether to do this or not at the start of the session, but the moment you mentioned it's International Dance Day, I'm thinking, well, come on, why not go ahead and do this? So people who are present virtually, we'll also be inviting you to join in this. We're not letting anyone go or anyone feel left out on this. And here's a quick question before we actually get into what we're supposed to do. I'm going to play a song, and please feel free to let me know either in the chat, or people who are present here can just let me know like that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt, but especially who is not mute, if they can keep themselves on mute, because I'm not able to get the voice correctly. So I think Mayank.
Yeah, sure. So I think what Mrinal is saying was is people who are not speaking, who are present virtually, if they can be on mute, then that would prevent from those unexpected, unwanted sounds. I think everyone is muted. I can also see it here. Just do one more thing. All right, while we're fixing that, I have a quick question for you while I play this tune. I know quite a few of us may be Bollywood fans here, so I'm going to play a song and feel free to take a guess which song is that. Okay, which one? Akshay Kumar, yes. Sauda Kara Kara. So Naveen got it right. Sauda Kara Kara is the name of the song, and what's the name of the movie?
Good news.
Good news. And on that note, I have a good news for you. So congratulations, you know the name of the song, you know the name of the movie, the name of the movie. Who knows the steps to this song? I can vouch for that. Who else? I know we have a couple of dancers in this. Yes. So, but I'm sure people who are not as good as dancers as they think they are, like pre-drinks, post-drinks, that leaves it up to you. But we might, all of us might have seen the steps to the song or the music video. And talking about getting into an uncomfortable space and uncomfortable zone, this is where it starts. And this is where I'll invite all of you to, even if you don't know the steps, we'll be taking you through those 2 or 3 steps that we need to do. And please engage with us. Even if you're present virtually, we would invite you to just rise from your chairs, move 2 steps back so you have enough space around you. And it's not just for people present virtually, it's also for people who are in the room. So we're not letting them go. I request them to rise from your seats and put those chairs under the table so that you have enough space around you. And if there's someone who knows those steps very well, I would love for them to join me on the stage and help. I know Shivani for one is one. Shweta. Shilpa also mentioned she's a good dancer. That's absolutely fine. You will have and you're not hiding behind the camera. So you can go down and join us. Very important point. So people who are present standing virtually, may I request you to rise from your seats and move 2 steps back so that we are still able to see you and you still have enough space around you to move. Hey, thank you so much for being a sport, Rajiv, Jyoti, Mrinal, we are waiting for you. I mean, come on. Hey, that's all right. Come on. Even if you don't know the steps. Hey, thanks for being a sport, Mayank. Vidushi, Shweta, if you can hear us, I know you can hear us, but see you. Come on. So let me just go to that exam. All right, so we'll just do 2 or 3 lines with very simple steps. So please come on the camera if you like. And the both of you. And you may require a little more space around yourself so that you can come here. All right. So intentions behind this is before, and I'll come to the intentions later, but let's just say, just go with the flow. Even if you don't follow the exact steps, that's absolutely fine. It's never about perfection. It's always about authentic expression. So having said that, we'll just do 3 or 4 very simple steps. So the first one, we just open our arms, both our arms like this, and spread them as wide as we can. And we shake and we go little down. We bend once, we bend twice. Awesome. Now for the next one, we put our right arms in the front. We put our left arms on top of it, rub them and move in diagonal opposite direction. Like this. We do the same with the opposite end, left arm in the front, right arm on top of it, rub and move in diagonally opposite direction. All right, that's step 2. Step 3, left arm above the shoulder, right arm above the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very simple. All right, now let's do it with the tracks. Come back to your seats. Come back to your seats. Thank you for being a sport, people who are joining us virtually.
Actually, I don't know about rest of the virtual people, but I guess I was not able to hear a sound a bit. So we were like dancing without any beat.
Yes, same here.
Mayank, that's the Mayank, that's the dream. Just to be on the same page, can you hear it now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, maybe some technical glitch, but I'll be mindful the next time. Thanks for bringing that to my notice. All right, quick question. How are you feeling now? Fresh, energized, woken up. People present virtually. You can also let us know in the chat if you're not comfortable coming off mute and sharing.
Can dance without a drink.
Can dance without a drink. Yeah. All right, what else? So feeling a little
Feel more comfortable.
Being more comfortable. Okay. Hey, good to know. So did you notice some change in the way your body and mind were responding to you when you were like before this small energizer and after this energizer? And one of the intentions or reasons behind doing these exercises, what I'll share throughout within the course of the session. So without further ado, let's get into the mindset of what we are here for. And towards the end, I also have a small gift for all the participants. It's like a link to a certain set of speeches that it could really come in handy when you're preparing your next speech. Maybe for the virtual audience, we can share it right after the session, but I'll share the link with your EC members that they can share within the members or within the group members. All right. So, quick question: do any of us remember the first time we were on our stage? It could be a public speaking, it could be a public speaking forum, it could be a presentation forum, it could be as young as you were in your school or college or in your professional life, and you were asked to give that one presentation that you never thought you could make it, but somehow you made it through that presentation or that public speaking forum and you felt really proud of yourself. And I want you to remind yourself of that forum in terms of where that was, how long ago, what did it happen, who was with you, what were the feedbacks that you received in terms of the positive feedback, in terms of what went really well, and from then on you realized you've got it in you to become that powerful of a presenter or a speaker. It could have been a few weeks ago, days ago, months ago, or maybe even years ago. Is anyone who remembers that? So before we actually get into sharing, somebody also asked me about my journey and where it started. So I've been a Toastmaster for about 5 years now. And to be honest, my first international speech contest, I didn't even want to be a part of it because I didn't think I have it in me. It happened on one of the weekends in somewhere in a club in Delhi, where one of my senior club members forced me to be a part of that international speech contest. And I was just on my way from Delhi to Noida to grab a bus to my hometown. And that senior member just forced me to come, stand and give a speech. And even if I was not prepared, that didn't matter. And I came and I gave a speech, and who knows, I won at my club level, and that's where the journey started. So for me, it was that moment where I was doubting my own capabilities of being as a public speaker, that I need to prepare thousands of number of times to get into the right frame, the right zone, and have those X number of skills and capabilities. I'm not ready yet. Let me deliver X number of speeches in my club, and then I'll go on that stage and compete. So that was one of the breakthrough moments for me in my Toastmasters, initial years of Toastmasters journey, where someone else forced me to come on the stage, deliver a speech. And I mean, that's when I knew I don't have to wait for the moment to be perfect. So I received a lot of positive feedback from the members of my club. And that in fact, that was the year where I won the club area division and came third at the district level championship. So I just look back and remind myself, if that person wouldn't have pushed me, maybe I would have never reached the district level. That was back in the year 2019. So been a while. So that was a little bit about my journey, which I look back and feel really grateful for, to that person, to those club members, and to myself as well, for believing in me and taking that step forward. Which is where we'll invite all of you, to people who are present physically, to just, again, we'll ask you to rise and get into your pairs. And people, you can, both of you can be a pair, both of you can be a pair, maybe two of you can be a pair and two of you can be a pair. And this is where you choose who's A and who's B amongst yourself. We'll give you 90 seconds to share your bit. So A's go first, and then the moment I say switch, then B's go first, and your partners are supposed to listen to you attentively. And to people who are present virtually, we'll be breaking you out into breakout rooms. We'll be breaking you into breakout rooms, and you will again have your partners choose who's A and who's B. Once the time is up, which is 90 seconds for one of the partners, I'll share a broadcast message. That's when you know that it's time for the other partner to come and share that story. So take a few more seconds to reflect and revisit that memory where you first got on the stage. It could be your first Toastmaster speech, your first speech even outside of Toastmaster, could be your school, college, your professional environment, or anywhere which you really are grateful for, and you're saying this was the start of an amazing public speaking journey for you. Take a few more seconds to think about that while I set up the breakout rooms. And yes, Jyoti.
So we have to explain the partner speech.
No. So you just have to share your own experience with your partners.
Okay.
So whatever your experience was the first time you got on the stage, and that was like a good experience for you, where you really felt that, okay, you can do this. It's not as hard as it looks. That experience you have to share with your partner. Like, where was that experience? How long ago was that? Who was with you? And what happened after that? In terms of all the good memories that you can think of.
Okay.
All right, fair?
Yes.
Anyone else has a question? All right, if not, so the moment you go into breakout rooms, your time would start, and we'll have the same setting in our physical environment as well. So decide upon who's gonna be A and B. A's go first, share your stories in 90 seconds, and B's then, like the moment you see the broadcast message that it's time for B's to go, then you switch the partners. All right, and please feel free to brag as much about yourself as you want. This is your time to feel good about that experience, so don't hold back.
Ashish and Harshoka should go into the house.
So I'll have to assign them manually, yeah? So
Assign manually.
So even if you go to one of the breakout rooms, I can then move you to another. Which one? Because once he moves there, then I can move. So manually will take a little more time.
If we get allotted to breakout room, we just change. Okay.
So see if this is there. We are talking about Ashish, right? I can exchange you with.
No, Harsh Chopra, ये एक में आ जाए.
First one is B.
Okay.
No.
So I need to remove Harsh, right? I will remove Harsh with, or maybe I can have 3 people in a breakout room. Because we are odd numbers, right? So we'll have to have. One, two,
So
three,
I
four,
think
five,
first
six, seven.
remove one person from room 1 to room 5. And
No,
room
Ashish
5.
can go.
Room 1. Room 3 is also.
You're right. So now that's fair. It's fair now? Okay. Cool. Lucky, thanks for sharing that you're traveling. If you can still maybe unmute yourself for quite a bit if possible and share with your partner, that'd be great. If you think that's not a chance or not a possibility, then please feel free to share your story in the chat so that you still have that connect with your breakout room member. Is that fair?
So in case of Lucky, you can.
Where is? I don't see.
In room one, we need to add Lucy.
Wait, I don't see Vidusha as participants here. Okay, wait. Yes, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Excellent.
All right, so Vidushi, I'm guessing you are aware of the instructions, what needs to be done?
No, I'm sorry, my network got disconnected.
All right, no worries. So within 90 seconds, like 60 to 90 seconds, feel free to share your stories with your partners in terms of your first experience of speaking at a public forum. It could be a presentation, a public speaking, could be as old as in your school, as young as had that happened sometime recently in your maybe your college or your professional environment, but something that you're really proud of and then got to some part of you that you think you wouldn't have been able to do that earlier. And just breakout room में 3 लोग हैं, please feel free to name yourselves as A, B, and C. All right, and the moment the breakout room starts, feel free to nominate yourself. Who's A, who's B, and A's go first, and then B's, and then C's. All right, good luck, happy sharing, and we'll be doing the same in person here. All right, that has started, and people who are present physically, please rise from your seats and face your partners. And it's recommended that you stand for this exercise. So face your partners, decide who's A, who's B. And who's A, who's B, and please feel free to go when you're ready.
Ready to pair. You're now connected to both zones.
Yes, definitely. All right, how was it? What's another
It's
story?
great.
We see
Yes,
some
pretty interesting. Huh.
interesting. Okay, we have a lot of smiling faces on the camera as well. Would anyone like to share in very, very brief, like in 2 or 3 words, or maybe 2 or 3 lines, how was the experience? Ashish.
I would like to share with you. One, I would like to share a secret with all of you that I learned today. Shivani was a host in her KG. Wow. He was, uh, that's I think some goal to achieve. It's very interesting. I think it was reflection was very interesting. It pushed us to think back, about our life, to moments which are special. And also, I felt, and I don't know how many of you relate to it, that when we were listening, since we had just spoken or we were about to speak, we were thinking more about our story than perhaps other things.
That happens, yeah.
That happens, yeah. I agree with Ashish.
What else in terms of sharing the experience or listening to someone else's experience?
What I felt is the problems or the achievements are more or less similar. So whatever we think that we are the only culprit or something happened bad to us, it's not we are the alone. It's common across the globe, I guess. And yes, the happiness also comes from it's in the same path.
Okay, fair. Anyone else?
Similar. I don't know about English.
Got it. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone who is joining us online? Anyone could be Vidushi, Jyoti, Mayank, Rocky, Mrinal.
Yeah,
Lucky
for me,
Oh.
it's a different experience. As so if you are in one-to-one conversation, so you need to be with full attention. So that is something, I found it. So this is a distinguished factor if we are talking in group. So you would be having chance that okay, you would be thinking about something else. But if you are in one-on-one conversation, then your at most attention would be there only.
Which is
So,
fair.
yeah.
Just to interrupt you there, my question is specific to how did you feel about reflecting to that experience and sharing it with someone? I'm talking about the specific things that you may have shared.
Yeah, so it's both. So I got so my partner's story. So I tried to connect with it with my own story. Okay, and when I share my thoughts, then it feels great to me as well, since these are the few incidents which I rarely share. So actually, I talk about not about my best moment in life, but the worst moment in my life. So so after sharing it, I feel little bit what to say, light-weighted or light-minded.
It's good to get it off of your chest. Not that it was like on your chest like a burden, but like sharing a part of your. But what I mean is sharing something that's a part of you, and when you're sharing that with someone, it's like you're making the other person a part of your life, which is where it's coming from. And it's very, I won't say very easy, but we feel more comfortable sharing those good sides of our life or an experience. In this specific case, public speaking or delivering a speech, or could be hosting an incident. However, that's just one side of the coin. The other side is a little unpleasant one, which we may not always be comfortable sharing.
The negative. We shared that before.
So just come back to that again. So maybe if you already shared, you can think of the other part. The other part, but this time, so there are certain experiences in life which are not so pleasant. And what makes them unpleasant is the outcome of that. Let's say the first thing you are trying something, and public speaking is not very easy to get over. The fear of public speaking is not very easy to get over with. There's also a research that says the fear of public speaking is called glossophobia, and an X amount of people were asked a question that what do you fear the most, and their number one answer was the fear of public speaking, and their second answer was death. So they fear speaking in public more than they fear dying. So on a good note, you're not alone in this one. We're all in this together, but there are certain experiences in our lives which may result in such a way that we may hold ourselves back the next time we are on that stage. And this is where we get into that zone where I invite all of you to step into that uncomfortable area where you may not be really comfortable sharing that, but try sharing as much as possible with your partner. And it wouldn't be fair for me to ask of you if I don't do that first. So since we're talking about that ISC championship journey that started in 2019, I shared one part of it, which is where I competed in that for the first time, won at the club area division and finished at podium level on a district championship. And that was the first time I competed in ISC, and it was like a huge thing for me, who's in his first year at Toastmasters and has reached the district level. And it was also very naive of me to let that climb it on my head. Because the moment I finished podium at district championship, I thought that now it's time for me to move forward, go up to the regional levels, semi-quarterfinal levels, and eventually the world championship stage. And I thought it's going to be easy because the first time it wasn't as easy as I thought. Okay. It wasn't as easy as I thought, but it was not very difficult as well. So next year, you can imagine as what can happen to someone who's a little overconfident and who lets their success climb into their head. I couldn't even finish at the area level. And there were people who were working really, really hard to achieve those levels that maybe to achieve that district championship level who eventually won, and I couldn't even get past the area level. And that like really hit me in terms of I was thinking too highly of myself. Maybe the success came to me a little too early and a little too easily than I had anticipated. And then I let it climb into my head. And I really took that lesson to my heart, and I worked really, really hard. And I did not let that, how do you say, that arrogance that comes with success come to me again. So which is where I really worked hard again. And earlier I was in my own bubble where I just practiced by myself and took the feedback of specific number of people. But the next year was when I like broadened my horizons and had feedbacks from various different clubs, states, cultures, and countries as well. Which is where someone's question of asking how do you create that world-class compelling speech is where you get feedback from not just your own club members, but you go beyond your club members. You reach out and seek mentors who are way ahead of you in that journey, and you probably try and test out your speech in different cultures as well. Because what may be interpreted in one culture a certain way may not be interpreted the same way in a different culture. So you want to make sure that your speech is inclusive enough to be understood by everyone. So that's one aspect of creating that speech, having constant feedbacks and practicing over and over again. And I had that like a list of ideas that I wanted to try. I tried and tested all of them out in my practice sessions. What worked well, I included that in my speech. What did not work well, I removed them. But I made sure all of that was done well before the contest timelines. And the result was a successful one. In the year 2021, I was successfully crowned the district champion of international speech contest. But of course, that came with its own ups and downs. And what happened after that is also I'll share something after we are done with this exercise. So that was a very not so pleasant experience in my Toastmasters journey, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because I learned a lot of lessons out of it, and it made me more humble as a speaker and as a person as well. So that was my 2 cents on my not so pleasant experience as a speaker. And this is where I invite all of you to reflect on your experience, and probably it could be maybe the first time you stepped on the stage, or for the first time you tried something new on the stage, and the feedback that you received was not a positive one. But eventually it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because there was a lesson hidden in there for you to look for and implement it in the next time you were on the stage. take 30 to 60 seconds to reflect on that experience, build it around a story that you can share with those participants. Take 30 seconds, this is your time. And make sure while you're thinking of that incident, you also have a lesson chalked out for yourself in terms of what did it teach you, because that's going to be really, really important. Can you just repeat that? So a not so good experience of speaking in public where you went on the stage, you tried delivering something and it did not go as good as you thought. Then what feedback did you hear from others? More importantly, what did you say to yourself? Am I not going to try this ever again? I'm not good enough about this. Maybe I told you that you shouldn't have gone on the stage and done that. So what was it that happened after that? And then if there was a lesson within that, and I'm not gonna like share a few sample lessons because I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. Everyone has their own unique experiences, and I want all of you to take away that experience. So think about that not so pleasant experience, in your public speaking journey, could be anywhere, school, and most of our experiences happen within the childhood incident, which is where the fear of public speaking comes in. So if you want to share that, that's completely okay. And whatever parts of it you want to share, I leave that up to you. Whatever you are comfortable sharing. Fair? So for this one, we'll take around 2 minutes per person to share, and then we'll switch our partners. And I also see there's another person who's joined us, Abhishek. Welcome to the session. I'll move you into DTM Abhishek. I'll also move you to one of the breakout rooms. So the moment we move into our breakout rooms, we'll name ourselves as A, B. If there are 3 participants, A, B, and C, A's go first, share their story in 2 minutes, then B's, and if there's a third partner as well, we move to the third partner as well. All right, the moment you move into breakout rooms, your time will start. We'll have approximately 90 seconds to 120 seconds per person. Any questions? Yes.
Not related to this, but whatever you have shared about your journey to be the winner at district level. If I have a follow-up question, do we have any at the end or should we do?
Let's do it at the end. Because honestly, this is where I want to share myself as less about me as possible and make it more about all of you. So we have the dedicated time if you want to ask specific questions. All right, so you'll be moving into breakout rooms, and the moment you go into your breakout rooms, your time would have started. Have a great discussion, guys.
Rajiv and
Oh, yes, Rajiv.
Achha, I just wanted to ask, as you mentioned, you are having, if I don't have any, very few chances I got for the public speaking, and I do not have any such instance to share. Then in that case, how?
If you don't have any instance of public speaking, maybe you can talk about some experience that you tried for the first time and it didn't go very well. It doesn't have to be specific to public speaking. It could be anything that you tried for the first time and you thought maybe it's not a pleasant experience, but over the years, when you look back on that, you realize that it was a blessing in disguise and there was some message within that experience that I was able to figure out after X number of years. Doesn't have to be public
Thanks
speaking.
Okay, thanks for the clarity.
Cool, have a good discussion. Stop looking at the screen, guys. Your time has already started. Come on. Get up, look at your partners. Go ahead.
Yeah. The whole layout was that.
Last 30 seconds. Last 15 seconds. Thank you, partners. Please take your seats. How was it this time?
This time we discuss both agents.
Can you thank your partners in terms of by giving them a high five and tell them good job done? And people who are maybe present virtually, you can do like a virtual high five to your partners. But come on, let's talk about how was the experience. How did you feel sharing that? How did you feel this time? Really? Okay.
I told now we
discussed the worst part and
Which is fair, but how did it actually feel sharing?
happy, now
Okay.
we were laughing on our stupidity which we did.
Okay.
what we do, we know about certain set of events. We do not think.
So before you actually share, can I request all of you to not talk about we or in third person because the session is about you and it's your experience, your unique experience. So let's talk about what I felt. In this case, what you felt. Let's not generalize it.
What I felt.
Yes.
We know I know the problem, and it happens that I'm not working much towards those problems during the breaks time or whatever. This is the time when I actually speak about myself, about my own problem, and then again the thought comes in mind that yes, this is pending. I have to work about this problem in the future. So that was one thing.
Self-reflection is something I also think. Okay. And how was that experience? Yes.
Yeah, so in first time, we both discussed first worst part and then the good part of the speech. So now in this part, so we just built on that.
Okay.
And but we felt, so sorry, but I felt, so for first time, so I was just not comfortable. But second time, I believe we both were comfortable in talking to each other.
You had a bond, you had a connection that
Yeah.
was built from the first exercise and you were more comfortable sharing.
And the main problem which I just also highlighted that the random thoughts. So we know what we want to communicate, but we just
Fair. Understood. Got it.
so the random thoughts, random speech. So this is the main part where we want to learn. So how to
We will get to that. I'm just talking about this experience of sharing.
Yeah.
How did you feel about bringing that side of you out there, sharing it with the other person?
So it was good to talk.
Did you feel more connected with your
Yes.
partner?
Second time it was more connected than first.
Second time was more like that connected bond happened
Yes.
than the first one, all right? Anyone who's joined us online? Yes, Vidushi.
First of all, I loved me and my partner's energy. Even though the topic was a little sadder, we were very cheerful about it. And it was this was an amazing experience. We had a better bonding this time.
Right. So better bonding in the second scenario than you had in the first. Any specific reasons that anyone can think of why that happened?
Because when you share happy sharing, the first one was more about happy. You are just sharing with it. But when you are sharing unpleasant or vulnerable side, it has more impact in creating that bond. And you become more comfortable, more open.
Because none of our lives are perfect, right? All of us have gone through certain scenarios which are pleasant, some of which are not so pleasant. And when you share the latter half of it, which are not so pleasant experiences, you're able to build that bond and connect with the person. I imagine if that happens in a one-on-one conversation, what kind of impact can that happen or can that make in a one-to-many conversation? But let's be real here. Not all of us are comfortable sharing the latter half in a larger conversation, right? Why do you think that happens? The question open to everyone.
Embarrassment, shame.
Embarrassment, shame. Okay.
Judgment.
Is it judgments or is it the fear of judgment that stops us? Fear. Because judgments though we all make, no? We as human beings, as the brain is capable of making judgments. If we were not able to make judgments, we'll not be able to survive in the day-to-day life. And when I say judgments, I don't mean the negative connotation that comes with it. I mean, because judgment is not just about people, it's about certain scenarios when you're making decisions as a leader, as a speaker, as an associate, as a toastmaster, as a human being. We need to make judgments in our day-to-day life, right? But somehow we have that negative connotation that word judgment has around it. So fear of those negative judgments is something that stops us. What else?
Yeah, and it's quite often that okay, we got opportunity to see brighter side. So, for example, if we go to social media, so we would be seeing all the brighter side of people.
So you're
But
talking.
these
So,
very
Mayank, you're talking about people, or you're talking about yourself?
yeah, I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
For example, yeah. So if I go to social media, I can see okay, people are doing really nice, really doing amazing job. But these are very rare moment when you are sharing or someone else is sharing a uncomfortable moment with you,
Fair.
So
So
this
just
moment connecting would
so
bring
just a
better
follow-up
life.
question to that, what stops you from sharing that on social media or on whatever platforms you're talking about?
Pardon, there is some noise at my place. I'm not able to hear you. Could you please come again?
Sure. Just a follow-up question to that, what stops you from sharing those parts of your stories on social media or at a public forum?
Yeah, so I don't personally, I don't find any sense to sharing your uncomfortableness or these kind of situation to random people uh, on social media. So yeah, so honestly, I don't have any answer, but it's if you look into trends, so everyone shares only best foot took best foot forward and share their
We
brighter
will talk
side.
about other people at a later time. This is not for them. This is for you and I.
Actually, if you ask me, I don't share anything on social media, whether it's a pleasant thing or whether it's a
Which is fair. Everyone
uncomfortable
has
thing.
a preference, and this discussion is not limited to social media. Let's talk about if you lead a team there, or if you're part of a team, if you're part of a Toastmasters club, or maybe a community. Wherever you feel comfortable, share. So, what stops one as an individual to share those parts of our lives is where this question is emanating from, and I'm exploring as we go into a conversation. I don't mean to like probe or be in that interrogative mode.
Okay, yeah. So let me share you an incident. So actually, yeah. So that is something which I learned from my manager. So when we have a one-on-one round, so prior to that, yeah, I had other managers as well, but that particular manager, so he shared his own vulnerabilities with me. So it make me comfortable that okay, if he's sharing, then yeah, why can't I share? So these kind of so it make a stronger bond. So if you have a confidence in someone else to which you can share your vulnerability, then definitely your bond would be more stronger and you can grow together and share
So
both
I'm guessing
moment.
we now
Pleasant
have
moment.
bond with that manager we're talking about. When we see someone else share their vulnerabilities, we get comfortable with sharing our own vulnerabilities.
Right.
So is it not because someone else shared that gave us subconsciously the courage to share ours?
Yep.
My specific question and the larger question here is what stops us from being that person who in the first place shares our vulnerabilities? And this is not specific to Mayank, this is like an open question for everyone. What stops us from being that person at start and then letting others share that courage of sharing their own stories? Vidushi. We also have Mrinal. Yeah, Mrinal,
Yes.
you after that.
Yes. So, okay, I'm sorry. Who to come back to?
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Vidushi. Yeah.
Okay. So here we had, like, you asked us that question that we had to share, but in a random conversation, nobody asks us to share. So it is very like, do they want to know? I think about that. Do they want to know? This is if will it add something to their life? This is where I get very confused.
Okay, fair. Mrinal?
Yeah. What I would like to say is, actually we are in a setup where people are a lot in a judgmental mode. Now, when we talk about our incapacities and capabilities and all, then generally people are in a judgmental mode because the setup is such. And vulnerable towards with somebody, people will always have an opportunity to take care or take a advantage of that particular part at least point of time. So we don't want to get into that vulnerable zone, first thing. And second thing, this in a judgmental zone, we always try to safeguard ourselves in a shell, maybe in a block, maybe, because if we try to open up, it would might create an impact, it might not create an impact, but it all depends upon we always want to be in a safe zone, in a comfortable, especially getting in non-comfort in an uncomfortable zone would not be anybody's cup of tea to talk bad about yourself, talk your incapabilities to somebody. That is what my perspective is.
Thanks for sharing that, Mrinal. There was a slight bandwidth issue in the middle, but if I got your drift, because we are brought up in an environment where everyone is not comfortable talking about our insecurities, and they can also be perceived and maybe utilized in a negative manner, is what stops us. And which is fair. And we are not here to talk about
Yeah,
the
being,
yeah,
yeah,
there
yeah, right.
might
Being judged by people.
you're cutting in
That's
and
how
now
they.
there might be a
I,
slight bandwidth challenge there. Unable to hear you
all
properly.
right. Sorry.
Switch off the camera and off, that will be better.
And we'll talk about that more in detail, but we're right now talking about you coming onto the stage and sharing that to a larger audience within this context. And is it not true that we feel motivated and encouraged by the people who are out there, share their stories in a large forum, and then also are comfortable sharing their vulnerabilities here? And then there's a part of us who want to be like them. Then there's a part of us that stops us from being like them because of, again, all those past baggage, conditionings, environment that we grew up in that comes us, right? That comes at us. So there's this dichotomy or that hypocrisy of of us as human beings comes in. We want to be like them, we want to admire them, but then again, there's some parts of our past that keeps us pulling us back and not getting them. And there's this concept in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, that I'd like to share with all of you, that human behaviors is a lot similar to that of an iceberg. Anyone seen an iceberg, at least in pictures, if not in real life? Yes. The main USP of that is, let's say 10% of it is visible, is above the water, the rest 90% of it is invisible, which is beneath the surface. And human behavior is a lot similar to that. 10%, for example, let that be the tip of this pen, is visible to the naked eye, which is the behavior or the actions of a human being. But there's also something that happens in the human mind that precedes those actions. Because my actions will lead to results / consequences, could be positive, could be negative. But actions precede results, but there's also something that precedes those actions. What's that? Thoughts. The way I think is the way I act. The way I act determines what's the result going to be. The way I think is the way I act, but is there something that also triggers the way I think or what I think? What's that? Motives, okay. What else?
Values.
Values, yes. Experience. So all of those answers that you're sharing that fall somewhere below the chain, but there's something that happens or that triggers the way you think, which are your emotions. The way you feel in that moment is the way you think. The way you think is the way you act. But there's also certain things that trigger emotions, because in a specific situation, one person can have a different emotion, the other person can have a completely different emotion. So it's not the situation. It's something that's happening within that individual that's triggering certain emotion. That emotions is triggering those thoughts. Thoughts are leading to actions. Actions are leading to results. And that certain set of things are beliefs. And how are beliefs formed? Because people can have different beliefs, right? How are those beliefs formed? Experiencing.
Seeing is believing.
Sorry?
Seeing is believing. If you see certain things and you kind of derive strata behind it, then you tend to believe something. Like if there is some logic,
Mrinal, maybe if you turn off the camera, we might be able to hear you better. There's bandwidth connection that we're experiencing.
Okay, is it fine now?
Much better, yeah.
All right. What I was telling was seeing is believing, because generally whatever we see, and if we try to carve out a particular logic around it, and that particular logic goes well with us, then we try to form a belief system in that at least we get to believe it because we have seen it and we have a particular logic to kind of substantiate whatever we see that way.
That's partly true, because when you're trying to form new beliefs, it needs to pass through your subconscious mind, because mind has three parts: conscious, subconscious, unconscious. And subconscious is what that controls 95% of our daily lives in terms of whatever we do, whether it's speaking on the stage or writing a speech or expressing ourselves authentically, inauthentically, everything. And to form that new belief, conscious mind needs to believe that by could be seen, could be through experiencing, and our conscious mind is very logical in nature. If it doesn't fit the experience or whatever new belief doesn't fit that logical side, it will act as a guard and it will not allow it to surpass and move to subconscious mind, which is where extremely logical people can sometimes find it hard to believe, form new beliefs, because not everything can be proven logically in life. There are some things that you have to have faith in and then believe in. So when we're talking about formation of those beliefs that mostly happen through the experiences in life, could be positive, could be negative. And what happens in that experience is also secondary. What primary happens is within that experience is the meaning that you give to that experience. I'll give you an example. Let's say for someone in their early years of trying public speaking, they came onto the stage, they tried sharing something, and the audience laughed. Now, as a kid, we are defenseless. We don't have those beliefs formed. We don't have that logical reasoning or rationale in place to filter out positive from negative feedback. Whatever comes to us, we just take it. If it's negative, as kids, we think it's our fault. Because as kids, we are defenseless. And most of our beliefs are formed by the age of 7. By the age of 7, we didn't have any control over our lives. So let's say if somebody is trying at a really young age that public speaking and they are laughed at, what are the beliefs that they're going to form about themselves, about the audience? Everyone is just out there to judge me. I am not good at this. Maybe I shouldn't go ahead and try this. I don't look good enough. I'm not presentable enough. I fumble, I stumble, I stagger. Whatever I prepare, I forget on this stage, and I shouldn't even do this. On the other hand, if someone tried again within a public speaking setting and they received good feedback, positive feedback from the audience, they would feel that the audience is welcoming. I can do this. I have the courage to share certain parts about my life that I can share with the larger audience. And people out there, they're warm, they're welcoming. So whatever experiences people have had could be positive, could be negative. They gave a meaning to that experience about ourselves and derived a meaning about the external world as well. That defined those beliefs. And the moment they are in a situation like this, their past belief triggers in, they feel a certain emotion, that emotion triggers certain set of thoughts, that certain set of thought leads to actions, and actions lead to results. So if you want to change the kind of results that you bring out there on that stage, you need to look at those experiences, those beliefs. And beliefs are of two types. They're not positive, negative, because positive and negative are still subjective. They're either limiting beliefs or they're empowering beliefs. Limiting beliefs are anything that are holding us back from being our complete self or unleashing our potential. Empowering beliefs are anything that moves us or helps us push forward towards that. And our beliefs could be about anything and everything. Could be about our own set of skills, could be about somebody else's set of skills, could be about anything. Your work environment, your managers, your peer, your boss, your organization, Toastmasters, this setting, about this person, me, or about a society in general. So all of that is controlled by beliefs. And if you want to change that, you reflect that, you reflect in yourself and talk about your own beliefs. And we have, all of us have those two beliefs, empowering and limiting. And more often than not, it's the limiting beliefs that are holding us back. Any limiting belief that anyone can think of that's holding them back. And you can just share that in one sentence. What's the limiting belief that's holding you back? It doesn't have to be like a full form statement, even if that's a draft of it, that's fine. Yes, please.
I think sometimes I stop taking action just in the fear of making it perfect. So just because I want to post or share things that are perfect, I don't even share. So I think that's a really important thing that I have learned right now recently, that it's not necessary that you have to be perfect. You go out there, make mistake, perfection comes with.
Absolutely, thanks for sharing. I know it's not easy to be vulnerable.
I share that as a fear or avoiding the failure.
Avoiding the failure, and more often than not, perfection comes from trying to avoid that mistake, because if we think that it's not up to our mark because we have really high standards set for ourselves, And अगर वो perfect होने से पहले बाहर चला गया, then people might point out this is not done, this is not done, and we take it really hard on ourselves. So fear of making mistakes is what the limiting belief there is. behind that.
And there will be no point where you will start with.
We're not talking about anyone else, we're talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
Sorry to point you there, but I'm being really honest. He was courageous enough to share about ourselves. Let's be courageous enough to share about what's holding us back. And am I fair in asking that?
Yes,
Yes. Fair?
Aditya, Abhishek raised hand a while back. Yes, so if we can ask.
Sorry, Abhishek, please go ahead.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're still here. If not, please feel free to let us know in the chat as well. We'll be happy to address that. Anyone else, if you're able to identify your limiting beliefs that's holding you back.
So the one thing that I think I can't connect people easily on virtual meeting. So again, today why I'm present here, just because I had first session virtually and I was not feeling that comfortable. So I asked him, can I join? So this time, it's all the time come for this so that I can connect with everyone. And now I'm believing that I'm more comfortable. So I need to work on my that way because I have to present the meetings also and everything. So I think that virtually I'm not able to connect. Maybe the person is looking there, here and there, and I lost my interest by mistake.
Happens to all of us. Thank you for sharing.
And so for me, what happens generally, so when there is any question and when we need to speak in a meeting, so I think that I'll start, but I will not be able to conclude. So I will be just short of words, right words and all. So I can start, but I will not be able to conclude. So it's better not to communicate. So that happens.
Fair, happens to the best of us. Thanks for sharing that. And whatever experiences that we may have shared as human beings, there are two deepest fears that we have, and that result into the formations of limiting beliefs. One, that is, I'm not enough, which means I'm not good enough. And the second complements that, if I'm not good enough, I'll never be loved. And when I talk about love, I don't mean about the family love or that romantic love with the partners. When I talk about being loved, I talk about being accepted by the people we are surrounded ourselves with. Could be in our homes, could be in a session like this, could be in our family as well. So people who say, I don't care what people think about me, in fact, these are the people who care the most. And as human beings, we are hardwired to have that validation and that love of the people we surround ourselves with, which is why people keep coming back to communities like Toastmasters, because we are able to create that supportive environment for people, which is where all of us come with that shared intention of bringing the best in the other person for us, which is where you have been coming back to those meetings, which is where I have been a part of Toastmasters for 5 years, which is something that you can also expect if you decide to go ahead with that journey.
I think one thing that also is the reason of coming back and why we come back to communities is that at the end of the day, it really matters how you feel about yourself. So in the communities where you are appreciated, you will tend to go in those places.
Absolutely. Which also reiterates the fact that people want to be there where they feel accepted and loved, which comes back to our deepest fears. I'm not enough, and if I'm not enough, I'll not be loved. People are not afraid to make mistakes. People are afraid that if I make a mistake, how will that be perceived? If that is perceived in a positive manner, there will be an environment where it will be welcomed by mistakes. If probably we grew up in an environment where mistakes and failures were not welcome, this is where we start being hard on ourselves as an individual, and which is where could be possibly the perfection syndrome steps in a lot of us. So that those two are more or less the limiting beliefs, but there are empowering beliefs that also we can choose to live by. And this is where I invite you to self-reflect and take those 30 seconds for you to choose those empowering beliefs for yourselves that you want to take away take with yourselves through this session. For example, one of my limiting beliefs was I'm not enough, which is where the speech that I crafted in my initial years of ISC, I tried to stick with that speech through and through over the next years as well, which eventually got me to that platform, but it took a lot of efforts to refine that speech. And there was that limiting belief which was holding me back was, I think I've given it all in this speech of mine. I don't have anything else to offer. which was my limiting belief that was holding me back. And my empowering belief now is that I am unstoppable. I am courageous. I have it in me, whatever it takes, and I will do it. So those are some set of empowering beliefs that I carry with me now. And whatever empowering belief you would like to carry with yourself, please feel free to take those 15 seconds to reflect. And if you're comfortable sharing, please feel free. So take those 15 seconds. This time is for yourself, and reflect on that belief. And try and see if you can start that empowering belief with I. Anyone would like to share in one sentence? What's the empowering belief you would like to live your life by? Yes.
So I believe this belief is for the parts when we are facing some challenge or we are doubting ourselves. So the belief is that this too shall pass. That no matter how tough it seems, I should remember that why I started this and try to just move on a little bit, and then this too shall pass.
So this, if I may suggest and explore with you in this conversation. So this too shall pass could be good for going through the difficult times. But can we also think about an empowering belief, or maybe reiterate this one, which will help you really unleash that potential? And not just around, let's say, I'm comfortable with this and ye bhi nikal jayega, but more around thinking about that dream life that you've thought about. And in this specific case, around public speaking, how you want to express yourselves to those individuals, one-on-one, one-to-many, that's your call. So this too shall pass is good. That will give you the courage and the confidence to go through those difficult times. But what it is that will help you not just go through it, but eventually sail through it and break through it. So that should be something, probably if you're thinking it to yourself and saying it, you feel goosebumps while saying it. And when others listen to it, they start doubting it. Is that really possible? So those are the kind of beliefs that you really want to instill in yourself, where others think twice, and even you think twice that if that's really possible. Which is where you will find certain parts of yourself which you never really thought were possible.
So I think the way to put in like different way to put it, or the more positive way to put it, is that I will achieve. I'm almost there. I'm almost gonna be there. So it's
still almost, or you will get there.
Almost as if I'm if my journey is still going on. So then I will say I'm almost there. Just a few more steps, and I will achieve.
So an attitude of never giving up.
Yes.
Got it. Thanks for sharing, Amra. Anyone else? We'll just take one more and we'll just time. Yeah.
My empowering belief is that from last 6-7 years, I am using a hashtag every day for myself, that is faith over fear, because it's a human nature that everyone has fear. But I every day remind myself that my fear is, suppose 7 years back it was 10%, and my faith was 90%. So in myself, so I say faith over fear, and it was 10%. But now today, 7 years back it was 10%. Now I can say my fear is 3%, and my faith is 97%. So it empowers me every day.
Faith over fear. But for you, Shubham, that was a little bit around the mindset, which is more or less. Jyoti, is it okay if I come back to you in some time?
We have Abhishek also.
Yes, in the interest of time, is it okay if whatever we wanted to share, we'll share that towards the end, and I promise I'll come back to you. I just want to make sure I give it all that I have in the in the time allotted to us. But I will come back to you, I promise. Is it okay?
Yes.
All right, thank you for understanding. So that was a little bit around mindset, which is almost the 80% of any skill, because the way we approach it with the intentions and the mind, with the mindset skills that we have, is how it comes out eventually in the world. So we've covered a lot about mindset. We'll brush up a few concepts on the skill set part of it in terms of coming up with a speech and sharing that with the world. And there are plenty of resources anyway available on your Toastmasters website, and there are plenty of resources. So we'll not take a deep dive into that, but we'll like have a macro view on it. So whenever you're trying to come up with an idea for a speech, there are plenty of ways that you can, and there are different ideas that work for different people. For example, you could come up with some ideas during your evening walk, during a shower, during having a conversation in a group, like a brainstorming session. Could be listening to another person's speech, is where you feel comfortable and relatable with that topic, and you thought that this is something that I relate with, and I also wanted to write a speech about it. So those are some of the idea generation techniques. For what really works for me, may not really work for you. So it's very, very unique to individuals. So for some people, it's like during a workout, during a walk, during morning, during night, could be journaling, could be while eating, could be taking a hot shower, could be any of those ideas. So reflect on what works for you and you can implement that. And when you've come up with that idea, there are 3 questions that you want to answer for yourselves and for your audience in order for you to create that speech. And those 3 questions are, what do you want to talk about? Which is where the objective of the speech comes in. Do you want to inform the audience about something? Do you want to educate the audience about something? Or do you want to persuade them into doing something after they've heard your speech? So what do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? Either inform, educate, or persuade. The second question is, why do you want to talk about it? In terms of why is this topic important for you? Do you have enough conviction, passion, and clarity to write a complete speech about it and share that with the audience? The third question is, what do you want the audience to do differently after they have heard you? So what do you want to talk about? Why do you want to talk about it? And what do you want the audience to do differently after they have heard you? And the third question in particular will answer a question that's always in your audience's mind, which they will never ask you openly, but they'll always ask themselves. And that question can be summarized with an acronym WIIFM, which is WIFM. What's in it for me? That's a question that your audience is always asking while they're listening to you. So make sure you have some sort of content, some sort of giveaway for the audience, or takeaway that they can take with them after they have heard you. Why do you watch some videos that make you feel inspired? Because they make you feel inspired, right? What was the intent of you coming to this session? Because you wanted to take something back that will benefit your journey. So answer that question for the audience within your speech. What do you want to talk about? Why do you want to talk about it? And what do you want the audience to do differently when they've heard you? And once you've drafted all of those ideas on that one sheet of paper, then you would like to, as the next step, you would like to organize them into those 3 sections, which is opening, body, and conclusion, which is very basic. Almost all of us have already heard about it countless number of times. And the reason why we heard about it countless number of times is because it really works. Opening, body, and conclusion. Opening is where you start your speech or your presentation with a hook. Hook is anything that captures audience's attention. It could be through an interesting question, a fact, an anecdote, a story, using your prop or doing something that nobody's expecting you to do. And after you've captured your audience's attention, you would also like to share some context around that story. For example, if I'm sharing a story around my journey of international speech contest, I'd like to share that in a brief and also share some sort of teaser in there. What's in it for the audience? If you want to become a speaker like this, be mindful of these things, which I'm going to share in those next ideas. Next part, which is the body. So within body is your story with specific examples and your journey. If you're talking about your story, if you're talking about a topic, you can include that content with specific data and examples and research. So you can choose to either share 1 story or 3 stories in short formats, but make sure that this is where you really deep dive, at the same time keeping it concise for the audience. And towards the end, which is the conclusion part of it, this is where you come back to the context part of it, which was in the introduction, and actually share with the audience that you delivered the promise that you told them you would deliver at the start. So opening, you share the context, you grab the audience's attention with the hook. Body is where you build that content around that topic, and conclusion is where you close it by linking it to, again, the opening and also including a call to action for the audience. If it was just an FYI, let them know it was an FYI. If there is something, a specific action you would want them to take, let them know about that action. If there was a personal story that you think there was a lesson for others to take away, let them know that you made that mistake. You don't want them others to make a mistake, and this is something. If they implement your message, this is how it will benefit them. This is just a specific. This is just an example of that. It doesn't have to be that specific. All right, so that's around curating your story in opening, body, and conclusion. And there's a lot of challenges that we face when we are delivering that, delivering any of the speech or presentation. And for that, instead of telling you, let me show you. I would like your attention for the next 1 minute, including the people on camera. Can you raise your right hand in front of yourself? Raise your right hand and join your forefinger and your thumb. Forefinger and your thumb, and do as I say, okay? Start rotating where it is on the spot. Do as I say, huh? And as you're rotating it, keep bringing it closer to your face. Do as I say, huh? Bring it closer, closer, and now put it on your chin. Is that your chin, guys? Is that your chin? All right, put it down, put it down, put it down. What happened there? Watching you more than listening. Exactly. Even though I said do as I say, multiple times I said that, you did what I did, which is where the importance of body language comes in. If you heard about that famous Albert Mehrabian model of communication, which is where the famous psychologist says 55% of any communication is through body language. So make sure whatever you are saying, it's not just reflecting in your voice and in your vocal variety, but it's also reflecting through your gestures. Because a majority of your communication is happening through your body language. And this was just a small example of that.
First I touched it here only.
I know. उन्होंने सही किया फिर गलत किया फिर सही कर दिया. All right, anyway. So this is where it all comes to an end. And this is where we talked a little bit about the skill set, and like not in detail, but we like did a brush up
Your
of those
device is
mindset
ready
and
to
skill
pair.
sets, and this is where we're almost at the end of the session, and we'd like
You're now connected to both zones.
sorry about that. This is where we'd like to end it with a breathwork exercise, and breathwork exercise is where we invite you to close your eyes and take all of that things that you've been experiencing since the start of the session. It could be that energizer.
Hi, hi Aditya. I'm sorry I got disconnected. But just before we end, I'm Mrinal here.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So before we end, I have one question for you. If you'd like
We
to
will be
answer.
taking questions at the end. This is near to the end, not the end. So before I actually leave, I'll tell you.
All right, all right.
So we will take those questions. All right, thanks, Mrinal. And for this one, maybe you'd like to come on the video. Would love to see you there. All right, so this is where we invite all of you to close your eyes and do a powerful exercise and reflect on everything that we've been doing since the start of this session, starting with the energizer dance that we did, moving into the pairing and sharing exercise where you shared some good aspects of your life and some not so good aspects where you also discovered some of the experiences, some not so good experiences. And we'll tell you that what needs to be done. And for this, people who are on the video, just make sure that you're not disturbed for the next 5 minutes, because to get the most out of this exercise, we need to be in an environment which will not disturb you at all. And before we actually close our eyes, just open them and I'll tell you what needs to be done. So we'll do 3 rounds of breathing exercises first, and then while our eyes are closed, and then we'll move into some guided sessions. All right. So those 3 rounds of breathing needs to be done in a certain format where you open your arms, like all your arms are open and they move above your shoulders. And as you move above them, you inhale. And then whenever you exhale, you bring your hands down with force and then you exhale. All right, so can everyone do that with me? You inhale and you bring your arms up, open your palms, including your fingers, and then you bring them down and with force and you exhale. So this is what we'll do 15 times in each round, and we'll do 3 rounds of that. And whenever we do that, we keep our eyes closed throughout and do not open them. And if there's any music playing in the background, just enjoy it. Whatever you're feeling inside it, it's going to be a unique experience for all of us. So don't hold back, even if you feel overwhelmed with some emotions, just play with it. All right, so keep our eyes closed, our feet on the ground, palms facing up on our thighs, palms facing up on our thighs. When they need to be in that ready position, I'll let you know. Palms facing up on our thighs. Leave everything that you have. Keep your feet on the ground. And we'll be ready to do the first exercise. Bring your arms near your shoulders. And the moment I say 1, you bring your arms up and inhale. The moment I say 2, or the moment I say 1, just do the complete exercise. You breathe in and you breathe out. All right, and keep your fists closed for the first one. The moment you take them up, you open them, you bring them down with force. All right, in 3, 2, 1, let's do round 1. 1, take it up, down with force. 2, and do it like, okay, wait. Can we all of us open our arms just to be on the same page? This is how it needs to be done. All right, just open your eyes, look at me. So the moment I say 1, you 3, 4, 5. So do it continuously with as not as fast as you can, but maintain a comfortable pace. All right. So 1, 2, 3, and breathe in and out of your nose. Do not open your mouth. All right. Let's close our eyes. Get ready for the exercise in 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, stop. Keep your eyes closed, feet flat on the ground, keep hands on your lap, palms facing up. Just feel what you feel. Just notice what you're feeling. If you feel some tingling anywhere in your body, if you feel relaxed, whatever you feel, don't fight it. Just accept it. Appreciate it. In the next few seconds, we'll be moving into round 2 and do it even better this time. All right, bring your arms up in 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, stop, relax, hands flat on your lap, palms face up, keep your eyes closed. Just notice what you feel. If there's any tingling in your body, let it be. Whatever you're feeling, whatever's coming in your mind, do not fight it. Just accept it, appreciate it. And while we are doing that, it's time to relive the moments we are grateful for. Think of the moment you delivered a speech that was really close to you and you felt really good about it. And reflect on the experience you had when you were sharing that with your partner in that first exercise. And just step into that moment as if you were there. Who was with you? How did you feel about yourself? What others said about you? What did you say to yourself in that moment? Just relive it as if it's happening right now. Be there as if you're there right now. Feel the feeling. Just fill yourself up with the gratitude of that moment. Keep breathing the way you're breathing. Even if that moment brings a little smile to your face, don't let that stop you. And in the next few seconds, we'll move into our last and final round of breathing. Give it your best this time. All right, bring your hands up near your shoulders. In 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, stop, relax, keep your hands on your lap, palms face up. Let's go back to that moment of gratitude that we were witnessing. Now it's also the time to embrace and imagine what it looks like once you've embraced the empowering belief you just talked about. Imagine if whatever life empowering belief you chose for yourself, you start living your life every single day. What would be the kind of speeches that you would? What would be the kind of expression you would want the world to know you stand for? Could be a presentation, could be a podcast, could be a speech, could be a one-on-one conversation, one-to-many conversation, whatever it is that you would like to achieve. It's not a dream anymore, it's done. Think of it that you're actually there in that moment and you're enjoying it. Whatever your goal was, it's completed. Step into that moment as if it's already happened. Enjoy it. It's not a dream anymore. You're living it. Express gratitude to the people who supported you to achieve it. Stay there for a few more moments. Whatever happy moments you can grab from that experience, grab them. This is your time. You have a few more seconds. Keep stacking up all those good memories. From that first experience you've had to the experience you've been waiting for your whole life, and it's now already happened. Keep stacking up all of those moments of joy as you feel it. Step into another moment of gratitude. Let it fill your heart with joy, courage, kindness, compassion for others, more importantly, for yourself. Whatever moments you're witnessing, let it fill your heart with joy, courage. And as you imagine those moments and feel the build-up of energy, keep your eyes closed. If you feel like the energy is enough, you can stretch your arms, stretch your whole body, listen to your body, whatever it's telling you, go for it. If you feel like doing the stretch, give it. If you feel like getting up, moving, it's your time, it's your body, listen to it, whatever it's telling you. Whenever you're ready, feel free to open your eyes slowly. Whenever you're ready, this is your time. Take as much time as you. All right. Looks like everyone's done. Welcome back. I would like to give all of you a round of applause for being very and whenever you're ready, I'll not ask you to share. You can share whatever parts of it you enjoyed or how the experience went for you or where you really were when you were doing this exercise. And this is your time, which is where we'll again go into our breakouts, and this will be relatively a smaller breakout, and we'll have 60 seconds per person to share our experience. It can be the start of this experience, the middle of this experience, the end of it, the complete of it in a summary. That's up to you. I'll not have any specific instructions because this is your time to share. So I'll the next two, in the next 30 seconds, you'll be moving into your breakout rooms. And whenever you do, you know what, you know the instructions, choose A and B, have 60 seconds per person and just share whatever you could make out of this experience. Right, 3, 2, 1, the time starts now. That also applies to people who are in this setting. Please rise, have your partners face each other and share that experience.
Hey, hi. Since I joined with a separate one,
You should get a response now, a prompt now to join a breakout room. You should get a prompt to join. Yes.
Or maybe before, right before the next meeting. But when you can never don't need.
You done sharing? All right, switch. Now it's time for other partners to share. Right, welcome back, everyone. Please take your seats. I didn't even realize we are like 10 minutes beyond our Schedule time, yeah.
Mhm.
How was it, everyone? And I do realize that we are like 10 minutes beyond, 12 minutes beyond our scheduled time. I do apologize for that. Anyone would like to share? Thoughts?
We are speechless right now.
These are one of the shortest words of my life, I can say. I had certain different level of expectation with this session, but I got so many things involved. I'm doing somewhere else. That came at the end, which was one of the best experience I ever had. And I'm not following that session because of some reasons. No, we do not have time now because we are very busy person.
Somebody told me, which is why I mentioned to ask.
I was having some experiences. Lot many, I have follow questions for the few terms what cognitive learning reports, so not least.
Yeah, sure.
I have,
Later.
because I've been more than 2 hours for that, I guess. So it was a wonderful session. Thanks for everyone who provided it, and thanks for you who be here.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that quick feedback on the session. And if somebody can share what they were really experiencing when you were in that breath work zone in terms of how was your experience? How did you feel all of the dots coming together within the session? And how did it really make a difference to you as an individual? If someone would like to share that. Yes.
I think it was very wholesome experience that I actually got right now. So even when we started the session, right, and you gave us an exercise to talk with a partner, right, who you don't even know the name, right? So at first I felt like I'm giving an interview. So
Yeah.
I didn't even know. When second time it was more like I'm talking to a friend, right? So that was a learning for me that get experiences, don't believe things, right? So experiences are always different, I think, in life. And I think the second exercise that you gave us, in which we were able to think about the biggest dream that we have. So at that time, you said that this thing that it has already happened. So I was getting second thoughts, like it has already happened. Now what? Now what else dream should I achieve? So that was very, very. I don't have the word to say, but it was very, very complete feeling that I actually experienced, and very like more than happy.
Awesome, good to know, which was the intent. Thanks, thank you for sharing that. Anyone from a virtual audience? I know Jyoti, and we also had Abhishek. It looks like he moved to another meeting. Yeah. Oh, okay. I know Jyoti, you had to share something, and I really would hate to miss out on what you had to say.
Well, the exercise was really powerful. It took me to my entire journey of how I changed myself with peers in the first part of the exercise. And then in the second part of the exercise, how I kind of break those chains to feel more fearless. And in the last part of the exercise, I could really feel reinforcing my empowering belief that yes, I am fearless. I can surpass my fears and I can be the voice of confidence on that stage.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Jyoti. Yay. And people who may not have had such powerful experiences, that's completely fine because these experiences are very unique to different individuals. So even if you have certain thoughts and ideas in the mind, please feel free to just work on them up even after this session. And if you had like a breakthrough where you couldn't really hold your emotions, it's recommended that you drink lots of water so that all those stuck emotions and toxins get flushed out of your body. So even if you didn't have like a breakthrough, just stick with those emotions and the thoughts that you have. You may have in the next couple of days even. So it's unique. It's a unique experience for each one of us, and each one of us is at our own journeys in terms of our speaking. So please do not compare your journey to anyone else's. You want to say something?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for organizing this. So I was.
You have those two people.
I was thinking that it's only 1.5 hours, so I did not realize that till over 2 hours. So we started.
We're way beyond 2 hours.
Yeah. And so what I feel, so first part, I'm learning from this session that when we present to a larger audience, so suppose I'm presenting to 30 people. So some 10 members are senior ones, some 10 members are peer, some 10 members are junior. So we should not target only 10 people. That these are senior, I need to make them happy notes. We need to make a presentation and we should try that all 30 people should make out of it. So that is my first learning. And second one, don't afraid and जो भी आता है करो उसको. So that is my second learning.
Which is fair. Thank you. We're glad you. Thanks. And if at any point in time, if someone has any questions, I would be happy to take them. I know Mrinal, you had one, and thanks for sticking by even beyond the scheduled time. Not just to Mrinal, but for everyone. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to shoot. You may be on mute.
Shall I go first?
Please.
All right. So for the one that we were already discussing, just take it as a extremely constructive feedback, and take it with a pinch of salt as well. What I understood from this is because since I am into this practice of yoga and a lot of things, that might be a structure of your speech as well. But since we know that, we just have a 2-hour session, and since you were talking about it's about us, I mean, me as a person, you as a person, everybody as a person. So there might be a lot of hindrances and obstacles that we might face in our journey for Toastmasters. So since you talked about it, to be very honest, but especially from the perspective of the Toastmasters as to how things happen there and how you get to feel, that I would like to hear a lot of things, because I'm into the I'm already into this breathing exercises and also this was that new for me, especially from my perspective. But I would have heard a lot about, I would like to hear a lot about your experiences through the Toastmasters, thinking of the field, especially when you are giving a table topic speech or something of that sort. So that would have made it more interesting, interactive, and more like, what do you say, penetrative. So that's a very constructive thing if you can take it that way, because you might be having a structure in which you generally go and deliver things. But especially me being a new to Toastmasters thing, I've never been a part of as such. So that was one thing I was always intended, because, get to listen something on that front.
No, which is absolutely a fair expectation to come in with for a session like that, Mrinal, and I really appreciate you sharing that. And I've had sessions like this and even beyond, which sometimes are specific to a table topic, which sometimes are specific to crafting a speech. And I have done all of those sessions, and in my experience, it can be very challenging to accommodate all of that within a session of 2 hours, which is where a lot of, even like not just this club, a lot of different clubs also, when they ask me to deliver a session and they have like a 30-minute or a 60-minute window, I specifically request them if we can increase that, because I want to cover as many topics as possible. And there are certain elements which go even beyond table topics and crafting a speech, but will still at a macro level cover them both. And as much as I would love to dovetail into the specifics of table topics and international speech contest, or even crafting and delivering a speech for that matter, this, in my experience of having delivered multiple modules, encompasses a wholesome experience for participants. And there are multiple other sessions even happening even beyond the club level, at the area and the division level, around those topics of table topics and international speech contest. So if you have any specific questions around those topics, I'm happy to take them offline as well. But good to know that you are already into yoga and some breath work exercises that you are already doing. And given the fact that you already are experienced in that, I'm sure you are aware of the power that yoga and those breathing exercises have in store for them. And which is where I said at the start, when I took all those expectations, that these may be a lot to cover in 2 starts, which is where I think I was fair in my part of giving that disclaimer. I know it wasn't
right,
full in terms of what all it can be covered, but trust me, I tried my best.
Definitely, certainly, absolutely. So that will bring to my to the question that I would like to ask, that, how do you select a mentor? Especially, like when in this Toastmaster thing, somebody who can give a constructive feedback around thing, because a person like me, if you say, I never get bogged down by anybody, or, generally when I kind of deliver things, it's like, I try to take the entire hold of the things, would not worry about the audience or something of that sort. From that perspective, if I want to select a mentor for myself, or somebody who can understand that what kind of qualities I might possess, what kind of constructive feedback that I need to work upon, can share constructive feedback and the kind of capacity areas that I need to work upon, how we generally select a mentor, especially into this perspective. As far as like my career paths, etc., is concerned, I already have one, but especially from the Toastmasters perspective, so that you can just look up to him, that somebody who is like that. I don't want to follow somebody's journey, because that's my own personal way of delivering speeches or conversating or whatever be it. But how do you select a mentor that way?
We are just wondering, the question is very well noted, and you perhaps can have a chat with Aditya offline, or we can help you here as well how to answer that question. If you could park that, please let us start, because we are just winding up this session. We are a bit over time, as we all know. The session was so engrossing and riveting that we have not realized it. We have to vacate the room in next 5 minutes. So just if you could allow us to wind up this.
Happy to connect with you offline on that question, Mrinal, and not just Mrinal, this is an open invitation to everyone.
Excellent. And I would remind Aditya, he promised us something in the beginning, if you all remember, that he will give us a link.
I will.
Where is that coming?
Sure, I'll just share that with you. I do have my laptop, so once we've wound up the session, I'll share that with you. And that's like a link of the YouTube links of speeches of the past 25 or 30 World Championship speeches that have won at the World Championship of Public Speaking level. So you can just go back and get inspired or get some ideas from those speeches as and when you deem fit. Awesome, which is where I would like to hand the stage back to Toastmaster Shivani.
Thank you so much. Aditya, you can just stay here, and we can, on behalf of Eloquent Toastmasters Club, a small token of thank you and a gratitude. It's a very small gesture from all of us. Come back.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You will come to
All of you in
just coming back again to Mrinal, that EC team of Eloquent Toastmasters Club can assign a mentor to you, and we can take this conversation and your question further. And thank you so much to everyone who made it to the session, physically, virtually. Thank you so very much for joining in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can we have a picture with virtual, and all of us can come here? And then we'll have a physical one.
Will it be okay if all of us go there, because they'll have a larger screen?
Or maybe keep standing and few can come here. This can, yeah. Some can keep standing here so that just see you are there. And Vidushi can help us take screenshots. Come guys, come.
Yes,
Everyone can come here.
Yeah, we can all fit in. Yes.
Yes.
See? You know, come in, guys. Come in, Harsh. Come in. We all can fit in. Yes.
I can't.
Who's taking the picture?
Vidushi.
He knows it?
I have clicked see first. Yeah.
We wrap up the session. Thank you for joining in. we'll end the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
The feedback on to everybody.
Thank you
so much.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you for the lovely session.
Bye.
Bye.
So much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.